Welcome back to Kara's Cakes. Today I'm going to show you how I stack and decorate this Christmas wedding cake.
Hey guys, welcome back to Kara's Cakes. Today I'm going to be showing you how I stack a two-tier wedding cake. The first thing you're going to need is a cake drum or a cake board to put underneath your wedding cake. I usually get a thicker one when it's a two-tier cake. You're going to need two other size cake boards. This one is going to go in between the top and the bottom layer, and this one I'm just using to do the decorating. I have my cake turntable, two different size palette knives, a bench scraper, my mixing bowl with a paddle attachment, a spatula, my KitchenAid mixer, my buttercream is here, and my cakes. And I have these three plastic support straws that I'm going to be using to put in the bottom layer. So that's everything, and I'm going to show you how I stack the wedding cake.
Okay, so I had my buttercream already made yesterday, so I just put that into the mixer with the paddle attachment, and I'm going to whip that up a little bit to soften it some more. Making wedding cakes, I like them to be a little bit more white than my buttercream is, so I use this white icing color by Wilton, and you can get that at craft stores or Bulk Barn or Walmart as well.
Okay, so I've already whipped up the buttercream, and I'm just going to take it off the paddle. So we're just going to get all of it off the sides. You can hear the air in there. And this is when I use my wooden spoon. There's a lot of air bubbles in there. You could hear it a little bit. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but using the wooden spoon and just kind of mixing it around like this, it makes the icing a little bit smoother. So then when you put the icing on the cake and on the sides of the cake, the air bubbles aren't there, so it's easier to decorate. And you do lose a little bit of volume, but you don't really want air bubbles on the sides of your cake. So you can see over here I have my three 8-inch cakes, and it's a 3-layer tier. So I cut the tops off of these two. This one was already pretty flat, so I didn't cut the top off of that one. We're just going to start with one and put a little bit of buttercream on the board so it sticks. Where you're stacking the cakes, you don't want there to be too much icing in between the layers, because once you stack the cake, it'll just come out the sides. Sometimes your cakes are going to look a little bit not straight, or if you cut the top a little bit off one side too much, but you can fix a little bit of that with the buttercream and the decorating. The next one, usually we stack the cakes like this. The top layer, you're going to want to turn it upside down like this. So I'll take my bench scraper and usually get down to eye level and just make sure that it's even on both sides all the way around. If it's not, you can use the bench scraper to kind of push the cake a little bit. And then I'm just going to take all the excess icing off. And you want it to be pretty straight because you are going to be stacking another cake on top. I go around the top with either this or this little spatula and just drag in the extra buttercream that's kind of sitting on the edge. And you can use the extra to fill in any empty spots. So I'm going to pop this layer in the fridge. Now we're going to decorate the top tier. I'm using a 6-inch board and an 8-inch board. I put a little bit of buttercream on the 8-inch board to stick the 6-inch board to it because you don't want it to be sliding around. And I'm going to start stacking the cake.
So I'm gonna stack this cake just the same as I did the bottom layer, and then I'll be right back.
Okay, so I am going to put a plastic dowel in this cake just to hold its shape. And I usually just try to pull it out, mark it, push it back in.
I did put 3 supports in the bottom layer as well. That helps so when the top layer is sitting on top, it doesn't like cave in at all. It just sits on top nicely.
Alright, so the second crumb coated layer is done.
The cakes are both decorated and ready to stack now. I didn't show how I made this rustic buttercream look on the sides. If you want to check out my last video, I'll link it above in the cards and below in the description. It was my week in the life of a part-time baker video. You can check that out. But now I'm just finishing the 2 cakes and I'm going to stack them on top of each other. You can see the cardboard in between the layers, but I'm going to hide that in a little bit. I'm using a piece of paper towel, or you could use parchment paper, just to push down on the cake to make sure it's level. And you can see me here covering up the cardboard. Right after I stacked the 2 cakes, I fixed up the sides and then I did show decorating the cake, and I only have the last little bit, which you'll see in a minute, but I lost the first little bit of footage, so it was just me sticking some pine cones and berries in, and you'll see me finishing it off here in the next clip. And I did add little dots of buttercream around the bottom and then between the 2 tiers. This cake was really fun for me to make because it was for my best friend's wedding, and she wasn't very picky on how it looked. She just had a Christmas theme, so I added the pine cones and the Christmas tree and the berries, and I thought it looked really nice. And she did order this wooden cake topper from Etsy. You could probably find it if you just searched wooden wedding cake topper. When I was all finished with the cake, I put it in the fridge just like this, left it overnight, and then boxed it the next day before I took it to the reception hall. And then I left it in the fridge there, and then it was taken out the day of the wedding.
Okay, so this is the finished wedding cake. Obviously it's a Christmas theme with acorns, cranberries, and pine tree. Hope you enjoyed watching.
If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos.